Say. Bing. Saving. Time. It's daylight saving time. Fall. Down. I didn't know. Okay. Fall. Back. It's time to fall back. Fall back. Set. Those clocks back an hour. Set those clocks back an hour. Set those clocks back an hour. Set those clocks back an hour. Yeah. If it says 10 a.m., move it to 9 a.m. If it says 8 a.m., move it to 7 a.m. And if it says 6 a.m., we'll go back to bed. Well, Chach, I think I'm going to do just that. Going back to bed.
I'm actually going to take the extra hour to study God's Word.
Okay, because I'm doing that too, but just in bed with a lamp. So.
Welcome to Redeemer Review. A quick look at what's happening this week in our church and our community. I'm Phil Kuhn. Next to me is Billy Brinkerhoff.
Hi, Phil.
Billy, we want to make sure we say that, again, in that funny video that you just watched,
Yes.
it says next Sunday, but it's this Sunday.
Yes, November 1st.
November 1st. So coming up this Sunday, make sure that you're falling back 1 hour.
Yeah, 1 hour. If you don't, you're going to be really early for church.
That's right. So let's dive into some of the talking points that we're going to have for today. Of course, we're going to be talking about this Sunday's theme, which is giving God your best. We're also going to do a review of this past Sunday. Billy's going to give us a little breakdown on that. Obviously, this week's sermon and Bible verse that we're going to talk about. You're going to give us a LittleSteps review. We've got announcements to talk about, and then we've got a really cool interview.
We have an interview, yes. I sat down with some of the members of the Redeemers Lutherans for Racial Justice group, Pete Barnett, Brent Beery, myself, and my wife joined us as well. She's part of that group.
So that'll be at the end of this, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Diving into this past week's review.
Yes.
Talk to us a little bit about what Pastor had for us this past week.
Well, let's see. Let's start actually with the info for this week.
Okay.
The theme this week is giving back to God. Well, actually, it's giving
God your
best. Yes,
That's right, yeah.
I don't know why I keep writing giving back to God. Pastor Bruckner's theme is actually giving God your best, and it's based in Genesis 4 about Cain and Abel. Crouching Sin is the sermon title. However, this is a continuation of his Genesis series, where he started with talking about God the Creator. And how we are made in God's image, that we are created by the divine creator that created everything, and we're all created for a purpose. He then moved on to how did sin enter God's perfect creation, and talked about the fall and Adam and Eve. And this week he continues that with giving your best to God. He's talking, as I said, the sermon is about crouching sin. And he's talking about Cain and Abel. You know, Cain gave an offering, Abel gave an offering. One was good, one was not accepted. What happens from there? There's lessons for everyone in that.
Yeah. And the verse that Pastor is going to be having during that sermon, would you like me to read that, Billy?
Yes.
So it's from Genesis 4, 6 through 7, and it says, "The Lord said to Cain, 'Why are you angry, and why has your face fallen? If you do well, will you not be accepted? And if you do not do well, sin is crouching at the door. Its desire is for you, but you must rule over it.'" So that's the sermon verses that we can look forward to coming up this Sunday. So, what do you want to do next? You want to dive into some announcements or
let's actually take a look at LittleSteps for a second. Okay. We have an employee highlight this week. And our highlight is of Mariah. She's the Turtles, which is our Twos Room lead teacher. She used to work here at LittleSteps a couple years ago for a while, and she went to find a different job and decided that she likes it here and likes the kids, so she came back to work for us again. When she's not working, here at Little Steps. She likes to spend time with her, with her nephews and also with her dog. And I can identify with that. I like spending time with my dogs as well.
Yep, absolutely. So that's great. So we're excited to have her and highlight her today. Want me to dive into announcements now?
Yeah,
I got a little ahead of myself, didn't I? Yeah.
Yes.
So, of course, choir rehearsals are going to be starting on November 5th at 7:15 p.m. There's going to be a daycare board meeting Tuesday at 6 p.m. Missions board is going to be meeting November 8th at 10:15 a.m. And then, of course, a reminder again to make sure you fall back this Sunday for daylight saving time. And then finally, no confirmation class tonight. That's been canceled.
That has been canceled. Pastor Work and unfortunately Ann Work are both feeling a little under the weather. So with an abundance of caution, they're canceling that so the kids can stay home and read through the small catechism on their own.
And we'll continue to keep them in our prayers, of course.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, sounds good. So interview time. Anything else before the interview?
Yes.
I'm excited to see this.
I don't think I have anything else. The interview is with three of our church members on how the Lutherans for Racial Justice groups got started here at Redeemer. We touch a little bit on the national group, and there's some information at the end as well.
Great. It's exciting. Well, thanks for watching. Have a great week. Check out this video.
Hi, I'm here with Redeemer's Lutherans for Racial Justice group. Guys, welcome. Thank you for joining us for this conversation. This is going to be a little bit different than the interviews that I've done before. This is more of a round table discussion. That's why we're at a round table. We're going to throw out some questions and see what the members of the group have to say. The reason why I asked you four here is I believe we were all at the first meeting, and we've been, all four of us, to, I think, every meeting, at least one of us. So we kind of understand the scope of the group. So, the first question, how was this group formed? What was the inception? Why did it come together?
I guess I have to take that one.
You don't have to, but
no, it was a response to much of the the racial issues happening. It was also, I don't think it would have happened without some inspiration from the folks at Mission Point, who put together a short video series that kind of helped address, or tried to address, some of the racial issues. And
we watched a couple of those videos.
Yeah, we watched some of those videos. Kind of started off with one, but also it was kind of the feeling that it doesn't appear that the church in general is doing it much or anything, and I was really uncomfortable with that. There was a great letter from the president of the LCMS, but I think if you look at individual churches, and not just LCMS, churches as a whole, I don't know that it's being addressed, and it was frustrating to me that it wasn't even being acknowledged, to be honest with you. And so I felt like doing nothing was not really an option for me.
Right.
I guess that makes it slightly selfish in that regard, but my hope was that, especially then, combining that with what I saw from Mission Point, the hope was that we could get a discussion going.
So when the group first started, were there any goals, any missions, or anything that was supposed to happen? Did any of you have any personal goals in coming into the group?
I don't know if I had any goals. I was happy that there were going to be some conversations about something I thought had a lot of relevance at that point. A lot of water cooler conversations going on about things in the news, and also aspects of what's a godly response to things that we see going on. How does the gospel connect all this kind of stuff? How does it address these things? And I think Pete did a good job of laying down some broad goals in the first meeting that we had. And one that I remember in particular was just to learn something, just to be open to gaining some insight or some information that you didn't have when you came into the group.
Yeah, one of the goals was kind of a lifelong learning goal, right? And going into it and having discussions. Those aren't always going to be fun or comfortable,
Right.
but hopefully there'll be something we can learn from. And then on top of that, which I guess we'll get to a little more of that, but also eventually building relationships. I don't think you can fully understand everything you need to understand without expanding your perspective and building relationships with other people.
So how often does the group meet? If anyone else in the church wants to join us, when and how often?
Every other Wednesday at 6:30.
Okay. And so far, what's the group been doing?
Well, I think from a general perspective, I mean, we've found, mostly Pete has found, different inputs for us and perspectives for us to view. Videos, we've had conversations with, we had a video call with a pastor who has started working in this space and trying to create more awareness. We have discussions, just conversations around what that perspective is and how it relates to the gospel, and just more understanding and learning and trying to gain perspective other than our own.
And the nice thing is that we always agree on what.
Everyone that comes to the meetings, we all have the same answer to every question.
No, that's what I really enjoy about it. That people all bring their different perspectives, and we're not learning. I mean, we're learning a lot about things related to the topic of racism, or just being aware of these issues. But also, we learn a lot about each other. I've just learned a lot about listening and trying to really understand where another person is coming from. And you talk about the relationships, and that was key too. I know one of your goals too, or one of the things that you keep asking us or challenging us to do, is to involve somebody else in the conversation. And so this is me doing my +1 assignment. Everyone that can hear my voice, I'm inviting you to come out and be part of this.
Yes.
But that's been great.
We do know that God has the answers. He knows exactly what's going on and why. As you said, the gospel is there for everyone, and we're trying to figure out how to fit God's answers to what's going on here.
It just comes from wanting to understand more. I think if you see or hear somebody do something, we're often really quick to say that wasn't right, or they shouldn't be doing that. And maybe it's my mental health background, I don't know, but part of my job is to actually figure out why they said or did something, right? And so having not lived a life of somebody else, then I think it's good for us to be curious of why they might say or do something. The other thing I would just add to what we've been doing, the group Lutherans for Racial Justice have some resources that's part of what we've been revolving our discussions around that Allie was referring to.
A big thing that we keep coming back to is that this is a complex issue, just like there's a lot of complex issues. And again, no simple answers, although sometimes you want to go to the simple answers. And that things like this are real nuanced, and that's what I've been challenged with too. It's not all wrong and all right the way maybe somebody's coming at something. Racism itself is nuanced. Everything from someone that just hates somebody because they're a different race to somebody that just hasn't had any experience with somebody with a different race. There's this spectrum, and there's all this nuance, and we have to recognize it and make it part of the conversation, and not decide, well, it's me against you, it's us against them, I'm right, you're wrong, and make it that sort of thing.
Yeah, I'd say one of the things I've learned, like that spectrum is something we've talked about from the beginning. The other thing that I've learned is that none of this is new. right? Like, this is actually addressed in the Bible because it's been happening. This is not new to us in Indiana or us in the United States, or that's not new. And so I have appreciated references and instances in the Bible where we can see that this has happened, and how did the people of God respond to that, and using some of that as some direction for us as an example of, hey, this is something God doesn't appreciate, and how did he have people respond to it at the time? And that's a little bit of a guide.
So what's in the future? What's going to go on in this group? What are we looking at doing?
Well, I think one word that I think can describe one thing we want to do is relationship. Form relationships, not just within the church, but with other communities, with other churches, with other people with different perspectives, so that we can understand more about all of this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the question's been asked a number of times, what can we do, right?
Right.
Like, we are not going to solve racism.
Yeah, no, I think that would be irrational.
So it's a big question, right? What can we do? And it's too big of a question, almost. And so what we're trying to do is kind of direct ourselves, because we don't have much direction other than our discussions, is come up with ways of tangibly reaching out to people.
So we'll keep praying that God gives us the direction. We're putting ourselves out there saying, here I am, Lord, use me. We'll pray for him to give us direction, and whatever that direction may be, we have to realize that it's his goals, not ours, that are what's important.
I would just add to that, we've looked at Micah chapter 6 verse 8 a number of times in this group, but one of the things that jumps out is this is a request for direction from God.
Yes.
And a direct response from God. So yes, we're hoping to do, we're asking that same question. What should we do?
So what do you tell Micah?
To love, fight for
To
something
do.
about justice,
To
do
do.
justice, love kindness, and
Walk humbly.
walk humbly with the
Mercy.
Lord. Kindness and mercy, depending on the version. Yeah, so, and to walk humbly with your Lord. So, yeah, that's our direction. That's what we've been told to do.
Thank you for joining me for this discussion. And if any of you would like to join us for our conversations, Wednesdays here at the church, every other Wednesdays here at the church, 6:30.